Right. I think there's still a lot of people still to join, but we'll just make a start, and then we'll see if anyone else jumps in. So I'm Mark Riddell. I'm not going to be on camera today since I'm sitting at home, like all of you. But you have my picture there. So for those of you that haven't met me yet, I don't quite look that presentable today, I have to say. Um, so yeah, we're just going to get started. I'm going to start by kind of covering some of the uh, kind of cyber attack related phishing stuff that we are seeing, and to do with the whole COVID-19 situation. So we'll cover that first before we kind of getting into like the main kind of topic today. So with so many people working remotely, we just want to make sure that people are continuing to do that in a safe and secure kind of way. So obviously people are hungry for news and information about the pandemic, and as with anything like this, cyber criminals will always try and take advantage. People are really anxious at the moment, and obviously it's a great opportunity to seize credentials, steal data, and compromise your networks and computers, especially using coronavirus themed tricks. And there's kind of three main ones that we're kind of seeing at the moment. You may have seen these kind of coronavirus maps, which are used to kind of live track what's going on with the virus kind of worldwide. But some of these maps are actually infected with some malware, and in particular, a malware called Azurot malware. So I have no idea how accurate these maps are. In fact, I don't think anyone knows how accurate any of this information is. But this particular malware has been around for quite a while now, about 2016. It's basically an information stealing malware sold in the Russian underground forums. Other variants of this malware can actually create hidden administrator accounts on your machine and actually establish remote desktop connections to computers. So then people can obviously take control of your machines. Some of the other kind of things that this malware can do is stealing computer data, so lists of installed programs, usernames, computer names, etc., etc. Account information stored in File Manager, FTP clients, stealing your email credentials from different email clients, including Outlook. Probably one of the most worrying things for most people is being able to steal usernames and passwords and browsing history from your web browser. So, like most people, fair to say most people use Google Chrome these days, myself included. Google Chrome will either automatically or ask you if you want to store credentials for websites that you use, and a lot of people do. And because of the Google Pay system as well, it can actually even store your bank card details. So this particular malware can actually basically steal that data from your browser. And also, if you use any Bitcoin wallets, then that data can be stolen as well. If anyone's still using Skype, not used so much these days, but your chat history, messages, etc., can also be stolen. And other backdoor commands, such as being able to download, execute, and delete files. So this malware can lead to further malwares and viruses being loaded onto your machine. And that can just be by visiting one of those coronavirus tracker website map things. The other one is bogus official messages or emails. So we did send out an email bulletin about this a good few weeks back to through our email tool, which a lot of you might have seen. Emails appearing to come from like the World Health Organization, the government, or other seemingly trustworthy services. They have the CDC over in America, which is the Center for something. can't remember what it stands for, but they've seen a lot of emails pretending to come from these government kind of organisations as well. So emails that may contain links to see like cases of coronavirus in your area to determine if you've been exposed. All these things again playing in people's fear. But the only thing you're going to be exposed to is malware from clicking on any links in these emails. So so I've also just noticed that I was hoping that Mark Lang was going to join us, which he has. Now, Mark, if you want to join in at any point, I'll leave you muted, but if you want to be able to unmute yourself, then just do that if you want to join in. And just other coronavirus-related phishing attacks. So of the attacks that have been detected at the moment, over half of them are scams. Some of these relating to people selling fake, either fake test kits or fake coronavirus prevention medicines and stuff. I've seen down south there was a guy arrested for selling some fake, dodgy chemical kits on the internet. I think he sold about 60 odd, who's been arrested and is now in jail until the end of April or something, where they can finally get him to court. But yeah, so online scams, selling stuff, over 34% were brand impersonation attacks, some blackmail and business email compromise as well. We'll show you some examples of these kind of things just in a few minutes. I know there's been over 4,000 coronavirus-related domains registered since January this year. Obviously, a lot of them are legit, but a significant number are only intended for the purpose of launching cyber attacks and phishing. And between February and March, there's been a 667% rise in phishing attacks, and that's obviously clearly due to what's going on globally at the moment. Here's some examples of some of the phishing attacks that we're seeing. I got a few pages of these actually, so quite interesting information. So you can see a few here related to getting people to click on links or just fake requests from colleagues. So the one in the top left here, your COVID-19 sensitive matter, talking about taking care of a priority financial strategy for the group. This is examples of business email compromise. The Office VoIP one here we'll come on to later. We've got a good example to kind of cover that a little bit more. And then try to get people to log in to access data, especially for like bigger companies where you might be putting out information to staff and things. So try to get people to click on links. The FedEx tracking example here in the top left has been around for quite a while, but obviously they're adding the COVID-19 message on top of that, here's links to fake FedEx tracking documents, which obviously you click and infect your machine with. Meetings being rescheduled. So this one looks very much like a Microsoft kind of Teams Outlook email, where a meeting's been rescheduled and suspended, and links to obviously see the rescheduled meeting. And in the bottom right here, saying that we have to reactivate your email. So we're going to be deactivating your email account. Please click here to confirm non-removal of your email. Now, of course, with everyone working remotely, communication is vital, and email more so than ever. So, of course, the minute someone thinks that their email account might be at risk, they may be tricked into clicking that link. Now, again, you know, the common ways of spotting phishing is still relevant for these emails. So the poor spelling, for example, no capitalization in people's names, COVID-19 with a space in between the 1 and the 9, and just all the standard stuff that we're used to kind of seeing. A few more examples here of getting people to download some dodgy attachments. So got one of our team has been infected. Again, there's a space in the word infected by the coronavirus. View the secured document. Again, the spacing in that sentence as well gives it away. So again, playing on that anxiety that, oh, someone in your team has been infected and here's guidelines on how to keep safe, might just bring down those barriers where someone might click into that. And then again, the bottom one here is just a dodgy Word document. Please read urgently, and your document secure code. So making it look like it's a secure document that's been sent directly to them. And then on the right, just another one talking about a message, an encrypted message, and you've only got 24 hours left to collect this message before it expires. Again, could easily be fooled into to clicking into that there. So by working at home, your working from home has massively increased your attack surface. So there's lots more entry points, potential entry points to the business network. There's many more devices than before, and it's really hard to monitor users. I mean, in the office, if someone gets an email that they don't think is legit, they may just be able to turn around and ask a colleague to double check the email and say, hey, does this look genuine to you? When people are working at home, it's not so easy to do that unless people are forwarding emails. But I think it's safe to say at the moment that people are kind of getting inundated with email right now. So people might not feel that they can just forward those emails on. And not only that, they might forward it on to a colleague who might click the link, whereas they might not themselves. So they might actually be creating or doubling the risk by forwarding it on to someone else. Obviously, IT support, that's us. We're now obviously having to get involved and provide support for lots of devices and home networks that we've never seen before. So examples of, people taking an office printer home because they need to print. So they've gone and collected a printer from their office and they plug it in and then raise a ticket and say it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work because it's never been used on your home network before. So it needs some reconfiguration of things. So so these things obviously, take more time to resolve. We are having to deal with networks and whatnot that we've never seen before. And another way that obviously this increases the attack risk is that people will always feel more secure in their own home. So users may let their guard down in terms of being vigilant, whereas they may not have done that if they were still in the office. There's not really much you can do about that one, I'm afraid, other than keep putting out the good messages and webinars like this to kind of keep reinforcing the message about staying secure. So we've got 10 tips for working from home securely. We did put out the majority of these tips in a PDF email that went out about a week ago. So some of you may have seen some of this and some of you won't have, but we'll kind of be going into things in a little bit more kind of detail anyway. So excuse me, checking your home network and personal devices. So yeah, changing your home router credentials. This is quite an interesting one because the password for your home router is usually a pretty secure one anyway. But the problem is it's written on the back of the router or on the little tab that you pull out. So most people will probably have like a BT Home Hub or something similar. Now, I guess at the moment, not many people are going to be coming to your house. But if we are talking about security, then changing default passwords is a basic part of security. So following those same principles, you should really change these things. BT, just because I have a BT Home Hub and I checked their website earlier, BT do have guides on how to change both the admin credentials and the Wi-Fi passwords in their home hubs. So if anyone wants links to those, then I can certainly provide them. Changing admin credentials is just good practice anyway, as long as you remember it, because this is your home device, and it's not like with your company logins, you forget them, you just raise a ticket with us and we fix it. If this is your home device and you forget the password, it can be pretty difficult to change the password on home routers if you do forget them. And again, with the Wi-Fi password, it's a good practice to obviously change that from whatever the default is. Again, the default is something that you usually can't remember, but especially anyone with kids, if their friends have come round, you can guarantee that there's maybe half a dozen kids in your street that can all connect to your Wi-Fi on their smartphones because it's been given out at some point. Slightly technical, but using WPA2 AES authentication, most home routers, it's safe to say, will already have that enabled, but it's just worthwhile ensuring that is the case. Indeed, just make sure there is a password on your Wi-Fi. You don't just have an open network, especially if you're in an area with lots of other houses round about you, because it's quite scary how many Wi-Fi networks you can pick up. I mean, I think I can pick up like 20 plus from my house, and the houses aren't that actually, they're not that close together. You can still pick them up. And if your router has the capability to turn on guest Wi-Fi, then it's worthwhile turning that on and then enabling guests to use that, just like they would in your office. You wouldn't allow people to connect to your main business network. You'd always try and have a guest Wi-Fi network available. Obviously, keeping operating systems and software up to date. So with a lot of users working on personal devices, obviously those devices are out with the patch management routines that we have. So on a Wednesday night when we're doing our weekly maintenance, we can't obviously touch those personal devices. So it's really going to be up to you guys and your colleagues to make sure that you're keeping any personal devices up to date. And obviously this will include tablets and smartphones as well. If you are using a VPN, and not all users are, we've got a lot of users who are connecting remotely through our portal system to their computers in the office and doing a remote desktop, in which case there's no need for a VPN. But if you are using a VPN, the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that all your internet traffic goes out through that VPN. So if you've got the VPN open, whenever you're web browsing anything, that traffic is going out through your broadband, through the VPN to your office network, and then from the office network out to the web, and then all the way back again. So, this can put a huge load on the broadband connection at the office, which could cause performance issues for other users. So, I mean, if you're sitting and you forgot to disconnect your VPN and you start watching Netflix, which I think was down yesterday, I think it was. I don't know if it's back up yet in Europe. Just make sure you disconnect the VPN. Yeah, it's just something a lot of people are not that aware of. And if you have our web content filtering service in place, then we might pick up on some personal browsing that you might not want us to know about. So make sure you disconnect it. Nothing more to say on that. We mentioned phishing. Obviously, it's the single most important thing you can do right now is just to be vigilant. Phishing is the most common cyber attack method anyway. even more so at the moment with the amount of emails that you're probably getting. So I did write double check for phishing emails, but I've changed it to say triple check. This is an example email that I showed you earlier, which I was going to go into more detail here, because a lot of people are, well, a lot of you might have our VoIP solutions in place already for your phone systems, and voicemail to email is a common thing now. So so it's not unusual to get an email that contains a voicemail. Now, the voicemail to email system that we have and we provide to customers, the voicemail is just an attachment, like a WAV file attachment that you can actually just listen to. You don't have to click on any links and download anything. But you know, other systems may, this here says you have a voicemail arrived in OneDrive, and I made a mobile number. So you know, other VoIP systems may do that. They may store voicemails in OneDrive. I don't know. So this could be perceived to be legit. I mean, the big red box to say this originated from outside of the organization, I mean, that could be a bit of a kind of false positive there, because if the email is coming from a phone system, then of course it's going to originate from outside the organization. So that message wouldn't really help you. But what really is interesting is if you see the name of the email, it says COVID-19 update as the sender's name. Now, why would your VoIP system be sending an email with that as the sender's name? And also at the bottom you see Constant Contact, which is an email marketing tool like MailChimp, etc. So again, the email wouldn't be sent out through a system like that. So yeah, a couple of kind of red flags kind of there as well. But again, quite easy to probably fool people. Passwords authentication, of course, can't do anything to talk about being safe and secure without mentioning passwords. So we say use strong passwords for authentication, and what really does that mean? Well, certainly no PII, so that's personally identifiable information. So nothing that can be attached to you. So not your house name, your pet's name, your date of birth, your vehicle registration number, absolutely nothing. Even, it doesn't matter how obscure it is and how unlikely you think people are to kind of guess that. If it's anything that is attached to you, then it shouldn't be used in a password. Aim for at least 16 characters. Now that seems quite difficult for some people when I've mentioned it at other speaking events, to say, well, I don't think I'll remember a 16 character password. Well, it's not actually that difficult. We say don't use any dictionary words in emails, in passwords, but quite often now you can use the spacebar in passwords. So if you pick 3 random words with a space in between them, that's actually more secure than the majority of your passwords, because we used to think that, you know, changing changing E's for 3s and A's for 4s and things like that was going to make a password secure, but it doesn't. It's length. It's been proven that the length of a password is the thing that actually makes it more secure. And for example, I mean, there's some tools you can use to check the password strength online, where you can put in a password and it'll give you an indication of how long it would take to crack that password. And I've done these live at some events where you pick a password that's 12 characters, and just by putting like four full stops at the end of it to make it from 12 to 16, it takes it from like, you know, a few years to billions of years or something like that to crack it. So just by increasing the length of your password massively makes a difference. Obviously don't share passwords between work and personal accounts. Now usually when I say that, now I can't see any of you, but usually when I see that say that at events in person, you usually get lots of people kind of starting to smile or put their head in their hands, because obviously this is really common, where people will just have maybe about 4 or 5 passwords that they just rotate around all their different accounts, which is obviously not advisable. And anyone in anyone that's running a business, or business owners that are on this webinar, should really be paying attention to that and making sure that staff are told, or you have a policy that says they can't use passwords, shared passwords, you work in personal accounts. So if someone's Facebook login is the same as their company email login, that's a problem. And of course, the best advice now is to use a password manager. The National Cyber Security Centre, the NCSC, they recommend using password managers, because in order to create, if it is 16 characters, in order to create a 16-character password and a unique password for every single login you have, I mean, that's pretty crazy to be able to remember all that. I use 1Password personally, and I think between work and personal, I have over 300 passwords saved, and they're all unique. And most of them are actually more than 16 characters. I usually go for about 25, just because you don't have to remember them. And we don't recommend changing passwords regularly anymore. And actually, one of the ways in Office 365 that Microsoft recommend is to turn off the password reset reminder. So we used to always say, "Oh yeah, change your passwords regularly," but all that happens is people go password 1, password 2, password 3, or whatever. They don't actually create a new password, you just modify the original one. So what was the point? But even better than that, use two-factor authentication. Sometimes you see that written as multi-factor authentication, but 2FA, wherever possible. So a lot of you that we do Office 365 for may already have two-factor authentication enabled, where you have to get a code like this to get a login. So this is a screenshot from the WordPress back end for our website. So you'd enter your username and password, and then you're prompted to enter a one-time code that renews every 60 seconds. So I use Google Authenticator, and I've got probably about 12 to 15 accounts that generate passwords for in there. Some of them are work systems, and some of them are personal systems. So, like I said here, you can enable this on your personal accounts. Like Amazon has it now. Because a lot of these things are turned off by default, people don't realize that the feature's there. Once you go and look at your account, you see you have it. So Amazon, Facebook, Instagram has it, Twitter has it, all the main kind of sites that you would use. Some of them, LinkedIn does it slightly differently. LinkedIn does it through sending a one-time code via text to your phone. But it's still a 2FA system. It's just that they're just getting you that code in a different way. So, obviously the benefit with this is that if your username or password is compromised, no one can still access your account without being able to generate that one-time password. Meaning that they would also need to have your phone in front of them as well. And I remember this was only a 60-second window where each code is valid. So it's not a golden bullet to security, but it certainly massively improves the way that people have been doing things. So a few more tips here then. Number 7 is just good advice, but at the moment, obviously, probably not out and about as much to be able to use public Wi-Fi, but kind of goes without saying that if you're doing anything in business, you really shouldn't be using public Wi-Fi. Best to use personal hotspots, so tethering to your mobile phone. Now, obviously, that creates a problem if staff have personal mobile phones and they start eating into their own personal data. You need to have some sort of arrangement with them for that, but certainly Don't use public Wi-Fi. That also includes if any of you are at home and you're tapped into your neighbour's Wi-Fi just now. Don't do that either. We mentioned updates earlier. It's worth another mention to accept all automatic updates. So not just big updates, but anything, even if it requires a reboot, and includes your phones and tablets as well. So if you've had an iOS or Android update that's sitting there in your notifications for weeks on end, get it updated, because these things can also be exposed. Number 9, keep company data on company machines. I think it seems fairly obvious, but with everyone using multiple devices at home now, whether it's their own smartphone, their own laptop or tablet, and they're doing work, it's really easy to download data onto a machine that's not controlled by the company and end up in a potential data loss or data breach situation. And don't allow family members to use work devices. Now, anyone else that's got kids like me will know that they're getting absolutely inundated with homework every single day, and it's all being delivered electronically through Teams and what's the other one, Seesaw, and all these platforms. And you know, not every family is going to have. I mean, you've got 2 or 3 kids at home, and they've never been doing their homework kind of electronically before. You've probably not got 3 laptops just sitting around, but you might have a company one. So you might let your kids, use that to get access to do stuff for homework and stuff. I mean, really, you shouldn't be. So the kind of best advice is to not allow anyone else to use work devices. Of course, it's going to happen. Your boss probably knows that you use it for personal use as well, but obviously, if we're giving out security advice, you really shouldn't do it. And then obviously, lock devices, even at home. I do it when I get away from my desk. I'll always lock my devices. So shortcuts for that: Windows key and L on a Windows machine, Control Command Q on a Mac. And I don't have any cats, but there's been examples of people where they've just gone away and their cats walked across the keyboard and deleted that important email by mistake or something like that. So unlikely, but it's just good advice. And ensure that any devices that are not supported by IT, again, that's us, has antivirus installed. And yes, that even includes Macs. So I'm currently sitting here with a MacBook and the PC on my desk. And yeah, the Mac should have antivirus as well. If in doubt, raise a ticket. Just going to cover kind of how to raise a ticket just now. Now, if you're on a supported device by us, then you will have our tree icon in the taskbar. If you can't see it down in the bottom right, then it may just be hidden. So if you click the little arrow next to the other icons, you get a little pop-up with hidden icons. Sometimes it might be there. You can click and drag it down to the main taskbar so that it's always available to see. At the moment, I'd make a request that to call us with any emergencies only. And an emergency can be you can't raise a ticket, obviously. So for any reason that you can't raise a ticket, we've been experiencing absolute record ticket volumes this week and then the last week as well. I mean, the team's been under immense pressure to get a lot of people working from home, as you can imagine. So that, as well as dealing with phone calls, has been it's been pretty crazy. So if you can help us at the moment to kind of try and make sure we can get to everyone and help you guys, then keeping the call volume down helps the guys work on tickets more rather than just taking calls. But of course, if you need to call us, then do. And sometimes it can be just because you're trying to get back to someone that one of the technicians you've been working with. Again, because we're all working remotely, we are not in the office where we can just turn to someone and talk to them. So it makes it easier if we call you. And you can also email as well. So if you do happen to be on a computer where our agent isn't on it, then it's not a machine that's supported, obviously, but if you want to raise a ticket from that machine, you can just email support@m3networks.co.uk. That will raise a ticket in our system. But the preferred way is to use the tray icon that you have. Now, any questions? Now, I've not kind of kept an eye on the chat, but I don't know if no, chat is clear. If anyone's got any questions, stick it in the chat just now, or if there's anything that you want to comment on or ask about, even if it's not something that I've kind of covered, please do so. If Mark Lamb's here and he wants to unmute himself and add in anything at the moment, would be useful. Some other useful information.
Oh, sorry, it took me a second to unmute myself there. Hi, everybody. I wasn't here at the beginning, so apologies. But thanks for all coming and obviously listening in. I think a lot of you will know bits and pieces about what Mark's been talking about, but as he said, there's a lot that goes into this, and it's good to just fill in the gaps and stay safe, because we are seeing a huge amount of this, a lot of phishing, scamming, and soon enough, I think we're going to see some ransomware attacks as well, when people are working from home, and people's personal computers are getting exploited. I think we're likely to see a rise in that. But for those of you who are using our remote working solution, just so you know, that system is safe from that, at least as safe as anything can be. There's never a guarantee in cyber, because you don't know what's coming. But any users who are using our Connect portal to get to your PC, that is safe from that. And anyone who is using VPN to get to the environment, we will have deployed our support agent to keep your machine patched, and our antivirus to keep it secure. So just to put your mind at ease in terms of working remotely during this time, we've got a lot of protection mechanisms in place, and all the core services that we provide and keep your system backed up, secured, and all the rest of it. That's all still going on, including patching your work computers, even when you're not using them, because they're being kept on at all times. So we're still doing everything that we've been doing before.
Yeah, and just some more information here, actually, and just to touch on something Mark mentioned there about the ransomware, is our cyber tech, Christy, has created a couple of videos giving examples showing a real ransomware attack actually happening. So he basically ransomwared himself, or a kind of sandbox machine that he has, and so we're going to have like a machine that isn't kind of secured by M3 with our antivirus, and a machine that is. So you'll see a real ransomware attack happening live as he runs through the demo, and then he'll also repeat the same process on a machine that does have our ESET endpoint security on it, and you can see how our ESET immediately stops the attack from being launched. So that is a video that I'm working on finishing off, and it'll be on our YouTube channel, which you can see the link in here. So yes, we do have a YouTube channel, and yet some other information on our blog, which you might have seen. We've been sending out, Aisha, that works with me in our marketing, does our blogs every week, and the last 2 weeks have all been to do with kind of remote working. So I think last week we did the how to be more productive when working from home. So it's a really useful one. That's a non-technical one. It's really talking about just other things, just about like your well-being, making sure you're in a comfy chair, making sure you take regular breaks, all that kind of other kind of good information, stuff that's easy to forget when you're not in the office, because you're at home and the lines between kind of work and home kind of get blurred a little bit. And then just on Wednesday there, we put out the how to improve staff communication and using Microsoft Teams. Again, that includes a YouTube video where I can run through Teams, what it can be used for, and a kind of a quick overview of the interface of how to kind of use it a little bit. And we are planning on hosting a weekly Q&A, kind of like this, for customers, but where everyone can just have a chat, basically, with no set agenda or anything like that. I guess as a way to kind of keep people communicating, because especially if you are working remotely, and we're going to be going into week 2 of that for most people next week. It can get a little bit lonely, and if you've not had a lot of communication, like actually talking to people, just for your own sanity, it can be quite good to get on a call with other people, instead of just dealing with everything and kind of email and whatnot. So I've seen the chat flashing up there. So Matt Hopkins is asking, are the M3 system updates still being undertaken each Wednesday, or are the machines being constantly monitored for updates?
Yeah, our maintenance and monitoring is exactly, coronavirus hasn't changed that. So everything is exactly as it was. The only change we have made is that we have suspended the shutdown at the end of the maintenance cycle. So our maintenance cycle is not a single thing. It consists of lots of component parts, and we've just disabled the shutdown so that when we finish patching, cleaning, and any maintenance that we're doing, we bring it back up rather than turning it off. So you're not getting the power saving, but I think that's probably least of everyone's concerns right now. Although I appreciate you working in the environmental sector, so that might not be what you want to hear. But yeah, if we turn them off, everyone will be going back into work to turn them on every week. We can't. No one knows how long this is going to go on for. So we took the view that we can't not be patching during this critical time and everyone's working from home, just because it might create a problem. Because typically there are a few problems with maintenance. So it's better that. It's kind of the worst of two evils, really.
Yeah, you don't want people to go back in after a few weeks to turn the machine on and it's 3 weeks out of date and not being patched and things. And like Mark said, okay, there's a slight environmental impact on the computers being on like constantly, but a lot of people are actually accessing their work computer from home through either some sort of VPN or through our remote access kind of solution, which actually has created other problems in the help desk where people have been accidentally shutting down the remote machine. So that the computer they were accessing has been, because they've had the remote desktop window, the machine they're shutting down they think was the local machine they're working on. It's actually the computer in the office that they've shut down. So then people have had to make a trip back to the office to turn computers back on the things. I think people will only do that once. And have to make that drive to go and get themselves back up and running. But yeah, it's an easy mistake to make, especially if you've not been used to working in a kind of remote session like that before. So so check out our blog. If you go to m3networks.co.uk, it's on the menu bar, but just /blog, and you'll see these blogs that we're talking about. They're quite useful information. The YouTube channel is going to start getting more videos on it as these kind of weeks or however long go by. And again, having a Q&A every week with customers, I think will be a really valuable thing for us as well, so that we can kind of get feedback on how things are going, problems that people are having. And again, we will make content based on what people want. So if there's any topics that you think it'd be good for us to cover in a future webinar or any videos, even if it's just like a 30-second, 1-minute video on how to do something. So like the ones we did in Microsoft Teams, I did one the other day because actually I needed to add someone else into a call in Teams, and actually it wasn't intuitive as it should have been. I expected to see a kind of add another person button, but it wasn't. And I thought, okay, so it took me a couple of clicks. I thought, well, little things like that, well, if it's taken me a few clicks and I've had to try and figure it out, surely other people will be having the same kind of situation, just because you've never had to do it before. So put together a little couple of minute video showing actually how to do that. So if there's anything else like that you think that that would help you guys and help other people working from home, then just email me and let me know. I don't have anything else to say today. We'd planned in for kind of an hour. We're kind of almost at 50 minutes in. If there's no more questions or comments, then we'll just wrap it up at that. Just to say thanks for coming. Stay safe. Have a good weekend, even though we can't do much. Yeah, we'll hopefully carry on business as normal again on Monday. So, and thanks, Mark, for joining in.
No problem.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye.